Shalom everybody, I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief, where you guys join me every Monday to Thursday and we take a look at those top stories making headlines in Israel. We do this, of course, because A, I like you guys. I just like to be in your great company. And also because we like to bring you the news from Israel, from the ground in Israel, the news that you will not see in the mainstream media. And also because the Israel Brief is interactive, we love you guys. We like to hear from you. We love your questions, your comments. It is a reminder that if you have a question that you would like answered, please be in touch with us either via our website or via our social media. Tomorrow is Thursday, and every Thursday I announce the mensch, the good person, and the moron of the week. So I've had quite an interesting list of recommendations this week. So if you have any that you would like featured, please send them through to me through our social media as well. As always, the Israel Brief is brought to you in partnership with these guys, Lay of the Land, and we put out a weekly newsletter. It's absolutely free, and if you would like to receive it, hey, be in touch with us via our website. It is day 565. As I say to you every single day, each day is more agonizing than the rest. We still have 59 hostages that are held captive. We believe 24 are still alive and 35 have been murdered either in captivity or on the day their bodies held captive by Hamas since the 7th of October. We want them released now. And the subject of hostages brings me to our top story. And as Hamas does every so often, every couple of days or so, they release footage of the hostages. And the latest, which has been made public with the permission of his family, is 21-year-old Rom Braslavsky. Now, this is the first sign of life that we have for Braslavsky, who was abducted from the Nova Music Festival on the 7th of October. It is absolutely devastating footage. In the footage, Rom speaks about the severe hunger that he is experiencing, the dehydration, that there is nothing to drink, and also the lack of medical care. He also shows the sores that have developed across his body, probably from malnutrition, dehydration, lack of medical care, lack of light vitamin D, and lack of oxygen, and the horrific and inhumane treatment that our hostages are enduring in captivity. He also says that he is afraid that he is going to die and they will dig a pit to bury him. We want Rom and all of our hostages, the living and the dead, released immediately. There are still hostage negotiations underway, and we don't have any new developments from that. But what we do have today is a Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas calling on Hamas to release hostages. Now, there are conflicting reports whether or not he is referring to the 4 American hostages that are still held captive. 1 is still alive and 3 are deceased, as well as the other captives that he possibly could be referring to. He says to Hamas, you sons of dogs, release the hostages. Stop giving Israel an excuse to attack the Gaza Strip. He says there is a catastrophe happening in the Gaza Strip. Now, while he is saying this, there are still protests going on in the Gaza Strip for Hamas to leave. A lot of the protesters are starting to talk about possible peace and ending the war. But Abbas went on to call on Hamas to step down. Now, as we spoke about yesterday, it is still unsure of what is going to happen that day after. And according to the Arab media, one of the points of the proposal currently on the table is for Hamas, who refused to disarm, to perhaps hand over power in the Gaza Strip to either the Palestinian Authority or some other kind of body. This has not been confirmed by an Israeli official, and as soon as we have a confirmed update, we will let you know. Sirens blared across the northern Israel city of Haifa and surrounds at about 4 a.m. this morning. Houthis from Yemen fired a ballistic missile towards that part of the country, setting off the sirens, and Magen David Adom, which is the Red Magen David ambulance service, say they treated several who were injured while running to their shelters. Now, the IDF has a new system in place where we do get a few minutes warning, like we had at 6:30 on Friday morning. We were alerted that missiles had been fired and we're likely to hear sirens. The IDF admitted that this did not sound in Haifa. They did not get the early siren warning system. Meanwhile, the IDF have also said that the missile was likely intercepted by Israel's air defense array. Earlier today, hundreds of faithful attended a mass in the Church of the Holy Sepulchre for the repose of the soul of the late Pope Francis. The mass was presided over by Cardinal Pizzabella. He is the Latin Patriarchate head. He is possibly in the running, according to some media, to maybe be the Pope. He is one of the many candidates that the conclave will vote on in the next couple of days and weeks, who will succeed Pope Francis. Meanwhile, the pontiff's body lies in state at the St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City before his funeral on Saturday. And finally, as I mentioned yesterday, tonight sunset marks the start of Yom Hashoa. This is Holocaust Martyrs and Heroes Memorial Day in Israel, and it coincides with the Hebrew date of the start of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. Yom Hashoa is separate to International Holocaust Memorial Day in that we focus specifically and only on the Jewish victims of the Nazi atrocities. Over 6 million Jews were targeted specifically for extermination. It didn't matter if you were a baby, if you were elderly. The Nazis wanted every single Jew in the world wiped out, and the result was over 6 million brutally slaughtered in death marches, in the murder pits, in the death camps, through slave labor, through shootings, and through other horrific mechanisms to ensure the extermination of the Jewish people. And as I do every year, and because I can't say it enough, the Holocaust did not start with gas chambers and it did not start with ghettos. It started with words. And today in 2025, over 80 years later, we have seen an astronomical rise in anti-Semitism around the world. We see the same horrific kind of language. We see the same conspiracy theories from the far right to the far left, and many in the middle who believe that if they just ask questions, it is not necessarily anti-Semitic. And by that I'm referring to the recent podcasts that we have seen that are promoting conspiracy theories and ugly anti-Semitic stereotypes. We are seeing the same exclusion of Jews from sports, from arts and culture, from business that we saw in the 1930s in the lead up to the Holocaust. We are seeing the same silence by so many in the world who shared the same silence over 80 years ago. Over 80 years ago, the gates of countries around the world were closed to Jews who were trying to flee Europe for their lives. And today we see the same silence as the Jewish state faces an enemy that wants our total extermination. Today I appeal to you, our viewers, not only to spend the next 48 hours learning about the Holocaust, hearing the stories of survivors, and also hearing the stories of those who chose not to be bystanders, the righteous Gentiles who saved the lives of many. People like Oskar Schindler, Raoul Wallenberg, and so many who risked their lives to save Jews. In 2025, we cannot afford to be silent, because we have learned through our history that what starts with the Jews never ends with the Jews. We call on you, please do not be a bystander. Israel is facing and fighting a war for our very survival. To many of us in Israel, this is a war that is the second war of independence, started by the atrocities we saw on the 7th of October, where the perpetrators had studied in depth the teachings of the Nazis and carried out their practices by burning alive, by raping, by mutilating, by murdering Jews en masse, in the biggest atrocity committed against the Jewish people since the Holocaust. Recovered from Gaza and on the bodies of Hamas terrorists were copies of Hitler's Mein Kampf. When we ask you today, again I'm going to say it, please do not be a bystander. Every single one of us has a voice, and we call on you to use your voice in the fight against Jew hatred. Anti-Semitism is racism, and it is Jew hatred. Please add your voice to ours. Now, Israel's President Herzog, will depart tomorrow for Poland. He will be accompanied by 10 former hostages, and he will join Polish President Andrzej Duda and 80 Holocaust survivors on the March of the Living, as they march from Auschwitz to Birkenau to commemorate the atrocities of the Holocaust, and to remind the world that despite the millennia where people try to exterminate us as a people, simply because we are Jewish, the Jewish people still live. When the sun sets shortly, I will light a yahrzeit candle in memory of the over 6 million. May their memory be eternally blessed. And now for the audience question of the day, and it comes from Greg in Melbourne, who asks, is there any update on the victim of the shark attack that happened in Hadera just a couple of days ago? And Greg, there has been an update. Yesterday there were remains that were recovered by the search and rescue. They were sent to Abu Kabir for DNA testing, and it was confirmed earlier today by Israeli police that it is in fact the victim, whose name has not been made public. May his memory be a blessing. So thank you for your question. And guys, don't forget to tune in tomorrow for your headlines and your question. In the meantime, and your mention moron of the week. In the meantime, please don't forget to check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. Our Facebook page is at Lottel's site. Our YouTube channel is right here at the Israel Brief. And please, if you like our content, please hit that subscribe, like, and share button. We really want to grow our incredible community, and we can only do so with your help. We are also on Instagram at Rolene_Marks and on LinkedIn at Rolene Marks. So guys, God bless you all, and I will see you tomorrow for a special edition of the Yom Hashoa version of the Israel Brief. God bless. Bye for now.